what Tim Tszyu said after the fight is 100% correct. With a decision like that, after everything that happened in the first Tim Tszyu fight, he doesn't deserve the platform. Think about all the people, the production team, the video, the camera guys and girls, the logistic company, the promoters, the networks. Everyone has been working their backside off to get this show and build the platform to give him this opportunity to do what he does. I understand he said he's worked really hard. So has everyone else. So there's that side of it. All these people have put in all this work to give you this platform to get paid well and do something that you love. But the people that paid specifically to see the main event, they are now not going to see it. All the people, their hard-earned cash, all the people that paid money to stay in hotels, to fly down, to watch that fight, have been robbed of the opportunity for something that they paid for. Like they have given up hours of their life to generate enough income to go down and see him fight, to then for that to happen. It is an incredibly disappointing moment for Australian boxing, and I think Zerafa will regret it for the rest of his life. I think that there's nothing you can tell me after seeing all that would change my mind and say that wasn't one of the most disappointing moments I've seen in Australian boxing in a long time. And that's not me having to go at Australian boxing. I'm just saying, for Australian boxing, 2 Aussie fighters fighting each other, huge card, one of the biggest of the year for Australia, and that happens. It's so disappointing because there's so many Australian boxers out there that would kill for the opportunities Zerafa has gotten, and they get paid nothing. They get bashed up every single week in pubs, in tiny gyms or whatever, and then you got a guy like that with an opportunity like that, and he quits. He finds a way out, and I don't think there's any other way to describe it. After an accidental headbutt clash, Zerafa developed a cut above his left eye that was attended by his corner in the break. As they went up to the next round, the ref took him to the doctor just to check it, as they do sometimes. The ringside doctor inspected the wound. Zerafa can be clearly heard saying, "I can't see," when he covered the other eye, his right eye. Then the ref clearly explains to him, if you get pulled out before round 4, it will be a no contest. Zerafa, at the very least, I hear him say yes, but at the very least you see him nod and is aware that that's going to happen. Then the ref calls it off. So that's crazy just in itself. You go, wasn't it that big of a cut? There wasn't any blood pouring down. It's crazy that he would say, "I can't see," knowing the ramifications of telling. If every boxer, not even boxers, everyone knows outside of boxing, watching it, if you tell a ref or a doctor you can't see, they are, I think it's even legally obligated to stop the fight. They have to. They cannot let a fighter go out there that cannot see out of one eye. That is putting them in danger and not fulfilling their obligations of protecting the fighters as much as possible. Or at least within the rules or whatever. So the idea that he didn't know what would happen if he said he can't see out of one eye, I just can't believe. Anyway, so there's that. Then a few minutes later, he's getting interviewed, and Zerafa says, "I just said I was blurry in one eye. I'm good to go," essentially. I'm summing it up. Then even further later in the dressing room, basically says he wasn't given an opportunity to continue and his eye is fine. And he brought his trainer over and they showed the swab and it was like, there's barely any blood on this. So it's gone from him saying, "I can't see," to the doctor, to "I was actually fine." So before he came out and said he didn't say it, you could just say, listen, if you're giving him the benefit of the doubt somehow, some way, even though I don't believe it and don't agree with it, you could say, listen, it's boxing, he's cut above the eye, maybe there was blood that, the camera couldn't see that much and it was like making his eye blurry or whatever. But for him to come around and change that narrative and say, "No, actually, I just wasn't given an opportunity to keep going." So essentially saying the eye was sweet, I could keep going, makes it even worse than that. Anyway, so it's the KO can't miss moment because you couldn't miss it on KO. In regards to the whole situation, it's such a weird situation. And it really drives home that even tough men can quit. Because I know a lot of people are saying that Zerafa is not tough. I don't know how you could possibly say he's not a tough boxer. Like, if you've watched some of his fights, being a professional boxer, you've got to be tough. But, even with all that history, he still decided to quit in that moment. Now, I'll never know definitely the reason for why, but I can only speculate by watching the fight. It really did feel like he came out there, he put the pressure on in the first round, he started to feel Nikita Tszyu's power, Nikita Tszyu started to kind of get his timing right, And it did really look like that he realised that the end might be coming soon and he took a way out. That's what it looked like, at least. Boys, thoughts?
I'll start by saying I am probably the biggest boxing novice of all time. I don't really follow it, but my God, I was wrapped up in it yesterday, catching up on it all. My question to you as a novice, I saw a couple of comments on socials and whatnot about Tim Tszyu, the stand that he's taken and his history of pulling out of fights or quitting
As in
a
Tim,
fight.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
So let me.
What's the context there for people like me that don't know?
Yeah, I've seen this comment getting around a while. Listen, I'll say this first. If you can find me audio or evidence that Tim said after the 7th round against Fundora, I'm done. If you can find me that, I'm happy to put my hand up and say I was wrong. Now, I understand their commentators said that he told the ref that he was done. I was at the fight. I was about 10 metres away from Timmy Tszyu when he came to the corner. What a lot of people don't realise is Timmy was battered for 7 rounds. He was dropped in the first round, I'm pretty sure. He was dominated. The 7th round was probably his best round, and he pretty much just laid it all on the line. But when you see people say, oh, he quit, they are not putting in the context of what actually happened in regards to the fight. So what happened is this. He 7th round was probably his best round, but in the last 20 seconds of the 7th round, Fundora clips him and starts just wailing on him. If the 7th round goes any longer, I believe Tim Tszyu gets knocked out. And I'm a huge Tim Tszyu fan, but he just got dominated. What I don't think you do see on the cameras is after the 7th round, Tim stumbles back to his corner dazed and doesn't sit down straight away. He's basically knocked out on his feet. Now, I know a lot of people think that being concussed means you're completely flatlined. That is not the case. I've played a complete half of rugby league, concussed. I can't remember it all. I literally woke up in the changing room. So Tim is clearly concussed. He's clearly dazed. Eventually, he sits down. The corner speaks to him in Russian. He's sitting there like this, like a deer in the head, like he's not answering anything. He is completely out of it. The ref walks over. He goes like this, thumbs up to see if Tim's good to go. He looks to the trainer on Tim's left. The trainer turns around. He waves the fight. The ref then looks to the other trainer. That trainer waves the fight. The ref looks again to the trainer on Tim's left. He waves the fight. Now, the commentator said that Tim said to the ref, I'm done. If Tim said I'm done to the ref would not need to look at the trainers and go, call it off twice especially. He would just call it off straight away. As soon as a fighter says, I'm done, he would just go, boom. He has an obligation to do that. Tim did not quit on his stool, in my opinion. They've come out since and said, the trainers have said they called it. You can look at the video footage. I know the commentators said that he did, but first of all, you're not allowed to call it anymore, but it's like the Chinese whispers game. They have to get that information up to the commentators in like 2 minutes. So they were just told by someone that he said to the ref that he quit. Go watch the footage. His trainer waves it. The ref looks at that trainer. He looks at the other trainer waves it. He looks back to that trainer to confirm, and he's like that, and he waves it again, and then he calls the fight off. So Tim, as I said, if you can find me footage or whatever of him actually saying, no, I'm done, then I'll happily put my hand up and say I got it wrong. But I was at the fight. He didn't quit on his stool. His trainers called the fight. They've come out since and said they called the fight. But yeah, that's where that comes from.
Yeah, okay.
And also, listen, let's say I grant you that he did quit on his stool. There is a universe of difference between a world title fight, getting bashed for 7 rounds to the point where you're stumbling back to your corner and you say no more, and walking up to a doctor and saying, I can't see out of an eye that has no blood flowing down it, and then saying after the fight that you actually could see and you were fine. So if you're telling me that you could see, then that means you lied to the doctor. Or which one is it? You couldn't see and you're now lying about not saying you couldn't see. So they're not even close. Even if I grant you that Tim did quit on his school, let's say I just grant you that fully, it's still not even close to what Zerafa did. Not to mention when Tim was cut, the big gash on the middle of his head and it was just pouring down his face, he went 12 rounds. Now, I know a lot of people would say, yeah, well, he lost the fight. You might say it wasn't a smart decision for Tim to continue fighting with that cut, but you can't say it wasn't honourable. If he says he's a warrior and I'm going to go out my shield no matter what, that's honourable. Sometimes being honourable isn't smart. Sometimes a smart decision isn't the honourable decision. And so that's why people say that. But I'm glad you asked me that because I want to clear that up. It's a bit of a misconception that he said no more to the ref because the commentator said it, and now everyone just believes that he quit on his stool. But if you go and look at the footage, and me being there, I was 10 metres away from his corner. I saw the whole thing unfold. He was truly dazed and concussed on his feet. Like, he was a second away from getting knocked out. And if honestly, the ref could have called the fight in that 7th round in the last 10 seconds.
I feel like saying I understand it's heat at the moment, but even with that in, like, I just don't understand how an athlete could think in 2026, you're not going to be mic'd. You're not going to. Everything's not going to be heard.
Crazy.
Everything's not going to be seen. Everything's.
The only thing I can think of is he was concussed because he got hit. The only thing I can think of is Zerafa was concussed.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is that
And if that's the case, then I cut him some
makes no
slack.
sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like if he was concussed, as I said, I've played a whole half of rugby league fully concussed, like fully don't remember it, woke up. If he was concussed, then but he hasn't said that. He said he was fine. His trainer has said he was fine.